it's not a single one. I mean, there are several. But if I had to name a single one, the single one was that I achieved something that has never really happened at UNESCO before. I come from a very, very small developing country, and I was pitted against great odds in terms of winning this election. And I think that was an indication of how UNESCO has grown, or the member states at least, that they recognize that you don't really choose people because they come from large countries or because they're powerful or wealthy, but you feel they have something to contribute. And I think that the member states felt that I was someone who could help to move this organization a bit further. Well, I think you can remember that my statement was that I wanted to make sure that small states, particularly SID, small island developing states, would have a voice in this organization. I've been around for a long time, working in the United Nations system and also at UNESCO, and I knew that small states did not have the kind of opportunities that they should have in terms of helping to make decisions. And I felt that I needed to change that. Change it in the sense that I wanted to give them a sense of confidence, that they would feel that they could stand up against any country and feel that they were going to be successful. So I come back to what I said to you before. With this election, I was told, I think you should withdraw because you are fighting a giant. And I said, well, fine. I don't want to withdraw. I want to be able to win or lose on my own merit. And I said, no, we'll go for the vote. And this is what I want small states to develop, because too often we have big countries coming and trying to say, well, look, I don't think you're going to have a chance. Why don't you let me do it? And I think this has strengthened small island developing states, particularly to have a voice, to make their voices heard. One of the ways that I think this has happened is that I fought to have a conference, if you want to call it that, on education, climate change, which we did have last month in the Bahamas. And I think it was a great success. I've seen a number of reports coming in from small island states saying how pleased they were that they had a chance to say what they had to say, because normally they don't get a chance to do it. And I hope that my election, my presidency, has set that kind of tone for small island developing states. I don't think life is interesting without challenges. And even if I didn't have challenges, I would have made challenges for myself. Because I feel that you can't work in an organization such as this without feeling that you need to do something that's different. And if you listen to any of the statements that I've made, I've always tried to bring something new to the member states, try to give them a chance to realize that one of the things that I feel we weren't doing here is that member states weren't taking risks. Everybody's afraid of taking a risk, that everybody wants business as usual. I don't work that way. I feel that we have to begin to think outside the box, if I can use that cliche. And the challenge that I had was to say things that might not be acceptable, but I think I knew how to say it in such a way. In fact, I have this definition for a diplomat: someone who can tell you to go to hell in such a way that you look forward to the trip. And so I used that, in terms of saying what I have to say in order to explain what I mean. And oftentimes I have people come up to me and say, that was a wonderful thing to say, but it was very daring, And I said, what's the purpose? Why should I be here if I couldn't be daring, if I couldn't say things that might prompt you to ask questions or to make some other decisions? I can give you some major issues, but those are mine, and I don't think I should do that. What I think is that each president has to find out which areas are going to be important for him or her that to deal with. Of course, there are issues like EFA, gender parity, racial discrimination. But these are all cliches when it comes right down to it. We've been talking about those for years. What I think we need to do now is to look at how we're going to make EFA more relevant and not just talk about it, but come to some conclusion at a certain time. We're going to make a decision, and it's going to happen. Now, we talk about priorities, and EFA is a priority, gender parity, and a number of others. My point is, if you're going to make anything a priority, you do whatever you have to do in order to make it work. And that's what I hope the new president is going to insist in terms of moving it a bit forward. I'm not saying that it's going to be completed. My dreams have not been all fulfilled, but I think I've made a few inroads into changing what is considered the status quo here at UNESCO. I'll give you a simple one. A simple dream that I have is that we would try our best to make our differences work for us and not against us. Because I see this happening all the time. I can't do this because you come from a different tradition, you come from a different culture, you come from a different custom, and therefore we are going to have to walk down the middle of the road. Well, parallel lines never meet. You have to somehow do something so that you would intersect. So my dream is that all mankind would be able to accept each other as brothers.